Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regular board meeting of trustees for Monday, March 4th. Let the record reflect that it is 6:43. Could we get the roll call, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Muhammad?
Here.
Trustee Stubbs?
Here.
Trustee House?
Here.
Trustee Denton?
Present.
Trustee Pearson?
Here.
Trustee Henyard?
Present.
We have a quorum. All members of the board are here. Next thing, if you could all stand for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could remain standing, I'll ask Janice to lead us in prayer tonight.
Everybody bow your heads. I pray for a quick meeting. Amen.
Got the job.
That's two of us, Janice.
Is that two?
There's 3 or 4 of us, matter of fact. Next thing on the agenda is general announcements.
I have an announcement, Mayor.
Go ahead. Go ahead, trustee.
Thank you. Voters' apathy is defined as a lack of interest or concern. There's even a feeling of cynicism thrown into the mix of not really caring. The village of Dolton has around 17,000 registered voters in a town of about 23,000 people. That's an impressive number of registered voters to population. On Election Day, February 26, only 2,671 people actually cast their vote for the current soon-to-be elected trustees and passed all 3 referenda that will go in place very soon. Turnout of this election was 15.71% of the 17,000 or so registered voters. Not only in Dolton were there record low voter turnouts, but Harvey and Chicago as well. What happened to the other 14,329 voters of the village of Dolton? Were these over 14,000 residents apathetic to the politics of our town of Dolton, where they didn't even exercise their given right to vote like you and I did, that made up that over 2,600 voters? Were the over 14,000 Dolton residents not interested or concerned to involve themselves in the political process and showed it by being cynical of the whole process? But you and I that voted were concerned and showed interest and regard and cast our ballots. The residents who voted exercised their right to vote, and those voters, I thank you for voting, and the voters have spoken. I respect all of your votes that voted for the 3 top vote getters and the 3 referenda questions that passed unanimously by your vote. It's said in politics that there are no permanent enemies or permanent friends, just permanent interests. I would hope our small community of residents doesn't continue to weaponize our politics and personalize it as well. We have political differences and should support each other as long as it is for the well-being of the residents and not so much for the elected officials. It's about the residents of Dolton, whether they voted or not. To you that came out on the cold Tuesday and the cold days that preceded it at South Suburban College for early voting, I respect you whether you voted for me or not. Again, I thank you for your participation in the process and don't have the answer for the 14,000 or so that didn't vote, but I offer you this. I would hope that the incoming trustees, along with the current trustees who will serve for 2 more years, decide if they want to run again, would be independent voices and do the business of the village and its residents. Campaigning is far different from running the legislative part of government. The promises made of fixing the Melanie Fitness Center are good. The recreational center has cost us, that are you and I, the tax-paying residents, about $2 million over the past 10 years. I don't believe the facility has ever broken even in its entire operation since its doors opened back in the early 2000s. This facility, according to the CPA firm we hired, reported Melanie Fitness has collected only 38% of anticipated revenues and has lost approximately $172,000 so far this year. The facility remains inoperable to be a fitness center that can satisfy its members and potentially new members. I'm sure since the election is over, the floodgates will open to repair the necessary things to get our facility to pass inspection. But know that the Village of Dolton is not in the business of running a fitness center that loses nearly $250,000 a year. For any incoming trustee that is taking on this most important task of fulfilling the fiduciary responsibility of the budget of our village, it's a serious undertaking, and politics has to be removed to make our village a financially viable village. You can't spend more money than what we are taking in, and you can't continue to borrow money to pay the bills. Please let the CPA firm of the Caspera Group that we voted in to help get our financial house in order do their job as an independent agency without the interference of politics. Approach this job with an intellectual curiosity, learning what is needed to be an effective legislator. My door is open to any incoming trustee who sincerely wants any transitional information that would make your coming into office a smooth transition. The net position of debt that our village faces, according to our recent audit, is $58,528,619. Minus monies contributing to our police and fire pension, it is $25,118,552. We also have a hole to fill in this budget of over $2.5 million. Laser-like focus should be on the serious issues that face our village from the incoming elected officials. The payment center that houses the water department is in need of an overhauling with revamping of the way we do business in reading meters and billing the residents of Dolton. The collections of monies owed to this village must aggressively be sought after. A director of economic development is sorely needed, along with a village administrator, finance director, before hiring spokespersons or PR people that bring no revenue to our village. Please look at the millions of dollars that residents are paying for in-debt service. It becomes compounded with the continual borrowing of money through bonds. New streams of revenue, along with reducing our debt and expenditure, should be the goal that benefits the residents of our village with its great potential of its people and our 5-star location in the Southland of Illinois. Again, I thank the 2,671 of you that exercise your franchise to vote. Those of you that remain apathetic, all 14,329 of you, I hope that you would see your way in getting involved, because your vote does make a difference. Thank you, Mayor.
Any more announcements? Okay, next thing on the agenda is village clerk report, approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, trustee. At this time, I would ask for approval of the minutes of the January 22, 2019 regular board meeting minutes.
Motion to approve January 22nd board meeting minutes.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve January 22nd, 2019 regular board meeting minutes. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion passed, 6 ayes. Next thing is communications.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. As Trustee Mohammed alluded to, on February 26th, the Village of Dolton conducted a Democratic primary election at which 3 candidates were elected at the Democratic primary, and they are as follows in response to still ongoing inquiries from residents. The top 3 vote getters were Mr. Andrew Holmes, Ms. Tammy Brown, and Mr. Ed Steve. The next election, bearing in mind that this was a primary, the actual election will be April 2nd for these top 3 trustees to be elected. As of now, the deadline for being on the ballot for any other candidates for the Village of Dolton Office of Trustee has passed, so these 3 trustees will be the only ones listed on the ballot for the April 2nd election, which is their official election. But also bear in mind that there are other elections concerning the Village of Dolton. Those include your school districts, the park districts, and the library board district. So there are still more candidates out there. If you haven't already, I have started to receive information just when you thought it was over. Do please consider and follow those candidates for other offices that directly concern the Village of Dolton, our parks, our school districts, and our library. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Madam Clerk. Next is Engineers Report. Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Clerk, trustees, and residents from the Village of Dolton. Just have one item in front of you this evening that is concerning the Cook County Department of Community Development, their 2019 CDBG block grant. Last week on Wednesday, February 27th, the county had their annual CDBG grant application workshop. I attended that. The focus of that grant workshop was to go over some of the new procedures and some of the new line items that are included on the 2019 CDBG grant application. The grant application is due online on Friday, March 29th at 4 p.m. On the agenda this evening, I do have one item. It is for the 2019 CDBG grant application. By the board passing that, it authorizes the mayor and the village clerk to sign off on that grant application and to be submitted on time. As part of that grant application, certification of resolution, a resolution, certified engineer's cost estimate, and also a current audit must accompany that grant application. The village has been extremely successful in the last 2 years and has been awarded over $500,000 worth of grant funding for roadway improvement projects. This coming up spring, as part of the 2018 grant application, the village was awarded $200,000, and the village will be resurfacing about 4 sections of roadway this spring in the village. I know one section is Dorchester, another one is, what's the other ones, Matt? Yeah, there are about 4 blocks we'll be resurfacing this year, and that'll be funded through grant, through CDBG grant funding. So that's all I have this evening.
The other 600,000, when do we expect to get that? The other 600,000.
What 600,000?
I thought you just mentioned, you said we were in line to get another 600,000.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I said over the past 2 years, we had received over $500,000 worth of
Okay.
CDBG grant funding, but during the next meeting, there are some exciting grant applications that were submitted and that the village did receive funding for. One is, I think, $250,000 for stormwater improvements off of Cornell Avenue.
Right.
Also, there's another grant submittal for $2 million for a Phase 1 study for a grade separation crossing at 142nd and Cottage Grove. So the village has a lot of exciting things going along. Also, one other item, about a year ago, the village had submitted a grant application to have CMAP do a assessment of all the roads and put that in a map format. The village was not awarded that grant, But this year, the mayor did receive an email from CMAP saying that the village was part of the new funding. And so this spring, there will be a pavement analysis conducted throughout the village at no cost to the village. So,
All right.
all right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The $200,000 that we received through CMAP, it's only gonna, you may think it's a lot of money, but we're only able to resurface 4 blocks. It's
Well,
approximately $50,000 per block to do.
That is correct.
So, so we're needing a lot more money for infrastructure for roadways, which we will be seeking with this new administration coming in.
Yeah, the maximum amount that we can apply for is $400,000. We apply for $400,000 each and every year, the maximum amount, and we were fortunate enough to receive $200,000.
Right,
Okay, and we'll be applying for $400,000 this year as well.
yes, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Smith. Next thing is committee reports, Human Services, Trustee Mohammed.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the monthly summary from the Payment Center from Supervisor Barbara Batten. For the month of February, total water collections were $536,858.36, and the other collections were $298,354.90. The grand total of collections were $835,213.26. The dollar amount of water bills that are 120 days or more past due is $2,457,606.97. That's an increase from last month of $325,091.17. And that's my report for Human Services, Mayor.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is planning, Trustee Stubbs.
Good evening, residents. This report was prepared by Denise Fields. This was March 1st. We had 27 property transfer taxes, 50 transfer taxes, 11 sale inspections, 24 as-is inspections, 13 quick claim, 23 judicial deeds, 1 deed in lieu, 49 rental license, 49 rental inspections, 34 vacant property permits, 19 tenant water deposits, 11 escrow deposits, 17 escrow release inspections, 19 escrow funds, 17 grass board up invoices, 37 housing tickets, a total of 401 total process, $69,106.50 total revenue collected from housing. January the 1st, you had property transfer taxes in the amount of $13,205. Transfer stamps, $2,550. Sale inspections, $2,200. As is sale, $4,800. Quick claim, $1,000. Judicial tax deeds, $1,050. Rental license, $2,500. Multi-family inspections, $2,310. Vacant properties, $18,144. Tenant water deposits, $475. Escrow deposits, $11,000. Grass invoices, $2,650. Board up invoices, $150. Housing tickets, $7,072.50, which give a grand total of $69,106.50. On Thursday, the 28th, there was a housing meeting. In it, we discussed the fees for housing. We also talked about permits. We was unable to get any information on the fees for the permits. And we also talked about the block-by-block proposal. We had one proposal that came from an attorney. I took a look at it. gave it to Attorney Murphy so he can take a look at it, and we'll have another housing meeting next month. That's the end of my report. Thank you. Oh, I have another one there. Department of Operations. This is Public Works Productivity Report prepared by Public Works Manager Matt Stacy. Public Work has installed, checked, and repaired 18 street lights and 9 street signs. Public Works has trimmed 5 trees and cut down 2 dead trees. Public Works has repaired 24 B-boxes, 1 water service leak, and 9 water main breaks. Public Works has checked, cleaned, and repaired 2 sewers. Public Works has been out repairing potholes throughout mapped area. Public Works has worked on shut-off for delinquent properties. We have successfully shut off 20 properties. We found 7 properties that are dig jobs. 1 property has made a payment arrangement with the water department. We also have 12 emergency shut-offs. Public Works mechanics perform 2 jobs to the fire department vehicle, 2 jobs to the police department vehicles, 2 jobs to the housing department vehicles, and 20 jobs to Public Works vehicle and plow, along with miscellaneous jobs that have come into the shop. Thank you, Mayor. That's the end of my report.
Okay, next thing is Trustee Muhammad, Finance. Oh, I'm sorry, Police and Fire, Trustee Pearson.
Good evening, everyone. I have no police report tonight. We will have that for you at the next board meeting. We'll give the stats for both months. From Chief Dyer, we have 34 fires. This is January 1st to February 28th. 34 fire calls, motor vehicle accidents 50, emergency medical service 509, hazardous conditions 35, fire service calls 56, fire alarms and detector activations 57, severe weather and natural disasters 0, technical rescues 1, and total incidents 742. I also would like to everybody to just take a moment of silence as Chief Dyer lost his grandfather, and I know that's a tough thing to lose a loved one. I just ask God that he wraps his arms around Chief Dyer and his entire family and show them the comfort that they need. Chief Dyer would also like to come up to the podium because he wants to read some stats and talk about promotions. So Chief Dyer, if you come up, please. And while he's coming up, I want to say congratulations to the new trustees-elect, and I wish you all good luck.
Good evening, everyone. First, I just want to make an announcement about a promotion that we would like to have on March the 18th. We right now have 1 vacancy for a lieutenant, and we only have 1 member that's eligible for promotion, and that is Steve McCain, the former chief. He's now engineer. He's going to be promoted to lieutenant, so there's no fiscal impact. We already have the vacancy, and there's nothing, it's already in the budget. So we just want to get prepared for that next month on the 18th. The next item is we asked for 3 more firefighters with guaranteeing that we were going to cut the budget down a little bit on the overtime. So I just wanted to read out some stats so people would understand what we did. Last month, February, we had 396 hours of overtime. But I went back to 2017, February. There was 620. Remember, 396. There was 620 in 2017, 396. In 2018, there was 614. This year, 396. Now we go back to 2016 when we were almost fully staffed, 444 or 440. So that goes to show you when we have enough manpower, the overtime goes down tremendously. I look back for the last 6 months. In August, we had 1,100 hours of overtime. September, 742. October, 755. November, 666. December, 765. January, 836. And like I said, this month, it was only 396. So we're going to be asking for 3 more firemen to get us staffed. We should be at 24 with a guarantee that overtime is going to go down. So right now, from last year, we're about 35% of where we were down. So we can't guarantee it will go down, but I can't guarantee how much. And the services will be better because you won't have guys working 4 or 5 days in a row. You have better service, more manpower, and you would rather have 5 or 6 guys show up to your house if you had a fire than 4 guys. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, and these are the numbers, and I have all these numbers ready for you, and everybody can look at this paper at next month's board meeting on the 18th.
Chief,
Thank you.
why don't you explain the equivalence of the amount of money in regards to those 700 hours of overtime, 1,100 hours of overtime?
Well, I can say we saved about at least $10,000 from last year's overtime, from last month.
No, just say, for instance, this pay period, in equivalence to overtime, how much some of this overtime is actually costing us?
This pay period, it would probably be approximately $4,000 or $5,000 in overtime.
And that's low.
That's low.
And that's just for a 2-week period. So in some of these cases, on a monthly basis, we've been paying
thousands
of dollars in overtime. So it's a priority that we reduce the overtime, not just in the fire department, but in the police department and also public works. So by staffing helps us to reduce that overtime.
And the thing about the fire department, like right now we have 21 members, but we have 3 members that were injured in the line of duty. So really we're staffed with 18. So when those 3 members come back, we'll be at 21, and the overtime will go down even more. So when we get to 24, now we can't predict if anybody's going to get hurt, call off sick, or get hurt on a run. We can't predict that. But if we're staffed where we should be, the overtime should never be as high as it was. I can just guarantee you that. Like right now, we may be budgeted at close to $500,000 in overtime. We should be able to reduce it by over half by having 24 members.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Mayor, with that, that's all of my report.
Okay, next thing is Finance Trustee Mohammed.
Thank you, Mayor. Of course, we had our finance meeting, which is held every 4th Wednesday of the month here at the Village Hall at 5 p.m. And I'll give you an overview of some of the things that were covered, and some of it touches on what Chief Dyer also made mention of. But before I do that, one of the village policies to incentivize residents and businesses when performing work on their property is to require them to place a deposit with the village. For the resident/business to obtain a refund, they must meet all requirements of the contract. The escrow revenue forfeiture line item is the recording of all residents/businesses that are no longer entitled to a refund because they didn't meet the requirements of the contract. In January, the village recorded $6,500 because the residents/businesses were no longer entitled to a refund. The village received $5,000 in grant reimbursement for 2017 grass cutting and board up costs. And I believe we applied for, I believe, $70,000. So that's being, I'm trying to get the information from Ms. Redmond to know what happened to the other amounts of money to pay those bills as far as grass cutting and board ups from 2017. As of February 22nd, the village has collected $222,000 in real estate taxes. We anticipate, based upon February 2018 collections, $580,000 in tax revenue, which includes sales tax, state income tax, excise taxes, and utilities. As I mentioned earlier, Melanie Fitness has only collected 38% of anticipated revenues and has lost approximately $172,000 so far this year. As far as expenditures are concerned, or expenses, the fire department, as the chief just stated, Chief Dyer, the fire department overtime in comparison to last month decreased by $10,000, which means the addition of the 3 new firefighters is decreasing the amount of overtime. The building department has expended 98.46% of their budget. Other contractual services over budget by $35,883, which is more than double the amount expended last fiscal year. The following departments have expended more than 75% of their total budget as of January 31st of this year, and they are the following: General Administration, Media Center, Police Department, Fire Department, Building Department, Housing Department. To continue with Fire Department, retro payments. The firefighter's contract was recently renewed, which will need the calculation of retro pay for everyone. In addition, once we calculate the retro, we will also need to verify that everyone is being paid at the correct rate per the new contract. This can take approximately 40 to 6 hours for the calculation for all 3 years due to the complexities of the salary structure. By the way, this is from the Kasperick Group, which is a CPA firm that's given this notation of what has to be done for the retro payments. The Kasperick Group will monitor this time separately and report invoice separately. This has been a task they have always billed separately and was not a part of the expected ongoing task, nor were they aware that this was going to come due in February. Lastly, the budget analysis, which is very important. Based on several discussions the Kasperick Group have had, they are in agreement that the village's budget procedures need an overhaul. This process needs to be started as soon as possible and will include creating a budget worksheet with several years of actual amounts, detailed meetings with each department head to determine actual needs, and then comparing these amounts to projected revenues to then determine how the village can cover expenses. This is also not a task that has been performed in prior years, but is essential. My last part of my finance report has to do with the collections of taxes and where we're at right now. This is a note from the Kasperick Group. The village, like many South suburban communities, are seeing a decline in the levy collections or tax collections. The non-payment of taxes crosses all tax classes: commercial, industrial, and residential. Add to this the refunds that happen each year, and the collections are further reduced. The Kasperick Group says they do not see the trend changing until the county comes up with a new way to force real estate tax payments. The current system is broken because there is such a large supply of properties with unpaid taxes and few investors willing to buy the property for back taxes. Investors see there is little hope of getting the property owner to pay the back taxes, and therefore the investor has property that they are really not interested in. Now, this is not true for all investors, but it is for the vast majority. The idea is the property owners or the mortgage holders will pay the taxes. Mortgage holders have been walking away as well. Now, lastly, and I will submit to the clerk, and hopefully it's for public record, there is a note we got from Mr. Vince Kasperick about our tax collections for 2016, 17, and 18. We generally collect about 80% of our taxes, but for the 2018 year, we only collected 81.66%. That means the following. Unfortunately, the tax collections are becoming worse. The 6% difference the last 2 years and the most recent taxes collected in 2018 means that the village will be paid about $860,000 less than it expected. Ultimately, this is going to put more pressure on the village in paying its bills. And that's our finance report for today, and the next finance meeting is the 4th Wednesday of this month at 5 p.m. here at the Village Hall. Thank you. That's my report, Mayor.
Next is Special Events Trustee Henry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for coming out this evening. I just got 2 announcements. One, the council walk, we're going to have it in June. Hopefully you guys will come out and join us and walk down civilly. You can get on the committee. You can come and help. If you got any resources you want to contribute to, please let me know. My cell number is 708-297-6859. Again, 708-297-6859. And again, I always announce this, we have funds available. If y'all know someone that's suffering from cancer, they need medicine or anything, a hat, a wig, we have funds. So please come and get the money, utilize it while it still exists, and our council walk is in June. The next announcement was, the clerk did not announce that it was 3 referendum questions on the ballot as well. So you know me, I want you guys to know everything that passed. It was 3 questions. I'm gonna read it into record. It's for the record, Mary Kay. The first question was, come on, get bigger. Should the village of Dolton be required to pass a balanced budget each fiscal year? That passed. The next question was, should the terms of office of mayor and village clerk for the village of Dolton be limited such that no person may serve more than 2 consecutive 4-year terms in the same office? That passed. The third question was, shall the village of Dolton be required to make all necessary budget cuts before raising residential water rates? That passed. All of them passed literally by 79% for term limits for the mayor and the clerk. So just so you guys are aware, the entire board has term limits. Each person on this board can only run 2 consecutive 4-year terms. That's trustee, mayor, and clerk. Balanced budget passed by 94%. And water rates passed by 90%. That's for the record. Thank you.
And I would add for the record, ladies and gentlemen, that of the 3 items that passed, the term limits question is binding on the Board of Trustees on the Village of Dolton. So as Trustee Henry said, as of now, no elected official may serve more than 2 consecutive terms in the same office. However, it was not noted on the ballot, so I'd like to call to your attention that the 2 other items regarding the water billing and the budgeting were advisory questions, unlike the term limits, which is binding. The other 2 were advisory questions, so the Board of Trustees is free as it sees fit to take the residents' views under its consideration or not.
Point of information, please. Could yourself, Madam Clerk, or the attorney, please?
Trustee, wait a minute. You weren't acknowledged, and just don't put out.
Can I be recognized, Mayor?
Are you done, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee.
Okay, as I was stating, point of information to either Madam Clerk or Attorney Murphy. Could you explain to the residents the difference between the binding and non-binding for the other 2 referenda questions?
I'll defer, excuse me, Attorney Murphy, I'll defer to you on this, of course, but I think I just did that.
Could you?
Go ahead.
Binding means it's the law of the land for the village. Non-binding means it's an expression of opinion by the village board that doesn't become the law of the land.
So that means that a balanced budget may or may not be passed, or raising of the water rates may or may not be raised, whether cuts are in a different department.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for the point of information.
Next thing is corporate bills.
Yes. Can I be recognized, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Okay. What I forgot, anyone who wants a copy of the monthly financial report for January, I have a few copies here, and hopefully based upon our ordinance that you can also see them on our website, vildolton.org. But I have just a few left here. I'd like to make a motion for the corporate payments of $713,368.56 for the gross payroll of February 15, 2019 of $406,535, and a gross payroll of March 1st, 2019 of $330,049.80. Melanie Fitness Center of $6,272.68 with a gross payroll of February 15, 2019 of $6,981.91, and also gross payroll of March 1st, 2019 of $5,193.09, with total corporate payments of $1,400,000. $468,401.04. Can I get a second?
Second.
It's been motion and second to pay the corporate bills as stated. Any discussion? No discussion, roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion carries, 6 ayes. Next thing on the agenda is old business. Ordinance number 19-002, amending illegal cigarettes, section 3-10-9 of the Dolton Village Code. Trustee Pearson.
Mayor, I'd like to remove that. I would like to present that at the next board meeting, as I'm not quite satisfied with it.
Okay, that's removed. Next thing on the agenda is ordinance number 19-003, amending water shutoffs 7-6-7-2A of the Dolton Village Code. Trustee Henry.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 19-003.
Second.
It's been motioned to approve ordinance number 19-003. Any discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Henry.
Thank you. I put this on the agenda today, you guys, because I have been getting a lot of complaints about you guys' water being shut off. We had an issue where you guys' water got shut off on a Friday, and unfortunately, it was a holiday weekend. So your water was off for 3 days, so Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So basically what I'm advocating for today is that your water gets shut off Monday through Thursday, and not on Fridays, not on Saturdays, not on Sundays. That was for the record. And then also, you have until noon to pay your bill in order to get your water turned back on by 3 p.m. I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that. You have until noon to pay the bill to get the water turned back on by 3 p.m. to go on the list. Thank you, Mayor.
Trustee Pearson, you have something?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Trustee Muhammad?
No.
Okay, I'd like to say this. Some of the members of this board have brought to the attention of the residents of the community that we're in dire straits for revenue. By the time the notice is out there to get the water to be shut off, it's already usually 3 months past due. And you're talking about, you don't want to cut the water off on Friday because they'll be without water for 3 days. We need to get revenue here. And no other village, no other town has an ordinance like this. Now, I think about if you're already 3 months late, you've had several weekends that you had water. And when we were in a really dire strait where we needed revenue and we needed to get our water bills paid, we were cutting water off at 7 days a week, and we put that up, and we had a line wrapped around the building, and I think it was 3 days we collected $2 million. We need to get busy about conducting the business of the village in the right way. And I just think having that extra weekend, when you've already had several weekends, when that bill has already been overdue for almost 3 months, it's not going to save you. And, you want to stop beauty salons from coming here, and that, you want to take the opportunity for somebody else to express their interest in
Mayor,
having a
that has
business.
nothing to do with the water shut off.
Why don't you let me finish? Is another way to try to stop revenue from coming in this town. And if we want to get back on the right track, we have to do what we need to do. Run this town just like a business. Pay your bills, collect the revenue, provide customer service. And I just don't think, you're looking at 52 weekends out the year that you're talking about not collecting revenue. And in some cases, the only way that you pay is by, whether it's threat letters or threat of disconnection or even cut off. So I would ask this board to really think about this in regards to how we collect we only bill 4 times a year for the water department. We only bill 4 times a year. So during that time period, just say if we got outstanding $3 million for 1 quarter and we only collect $1 million. That means we carry over $2 million to the next quarter, and you got another $3 million that's outstanding. In likelihood, if you didn't collect the other $2 million in the first quarter, you're not going to collect it in the second quarter. Instead of you being $2 million delinquent, now you're $4 million delinquent. We owe the city of Chicago a lot of money, and the only way we're going to get to pay them is to collect money. And in those situations where we have water main breaks, none of you pay for that. The village has to pay for that until that water main break is capped off. And we're one of the lowest suburbs in rates for water. We got our aging infrastructure, and the chances are that we'll have many more water main breaks than someone else that has an up-to-date infrastructure. Consequently, we have to pay for overtime for water for the public works people. So I think that we should stay right on track and do the collections like we've been doing them.
Okay.
I got no further. Anybody else?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I think that people make mistakes in life. I think that some people fall on hard times and may not have the money right away, but the whole point is to get the money. When the resident come and pay their bill, we should turn their water back on. But yet we have rules. We say they have to pay by a certain time, and then we will turn their water back on. Example, if you guys' cable bill gets shut off and you pay it, guess what? They turn it right back on. The whole point was to get the money. We got the money, turn the residents' water on. I don't believe or feel that you guys should have to suffer over 3 days. We're still doing our job by turning the water off Monday through Thursday. So I don't understand what's the issue of not turning it off on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. Now, I will see if them guys was working on Saturday, then yes, we can turn water off on Friday, because now the residents still had the opportunity to pay their bill and get their water turned back on. Again, we're not open on Saturdays. How do they come and pay the bill? How do they get water over the weekend? Just because that one individual in the household did not pay the bill for the whole family suffers. Some people got kids, some people got elderly. I don't think they should suffer for 3 days, because now the water don't get cut back on till Tuesday. And then when Tuesday get here, it might get cut back on later on Tuesday, not that morning. I just don't feel that we should still keep on making the residents pay after they paid, if that makes sense.
Okay. The water department has a program where you can work out a payment plan.
Correct.
Now, if you had your lights turned off at 5 o'clock on Friday, when do you get your lights turned back on? If you had your gas turned off at 5 o'clock on Friday, when do you get your gas turned on?
Mayor, they have the staff.
When do you get your gas turned on?
I don't know.
You don't get it turned on over the weekend. Neither one of those utilities. So I'm not asking for anything. I'm not saying anything that any other utility company doesn't do. Besides, those utility companies have monthly payments. They're not waiting up every quarter to collect their money to try to get enough money in to pay the city of Chicago. So all those factors have to be taken into consideration. We're not trying to hurt anybody here. We're just trying to get right back on board and where we should be.
And Mayor, nothing's wrong with that. It's just about how we go about it. That's all I'm saying. The structure is all wrong. We're cutting water off and not turning it back on when needed. We're making people wait hours and hours after they paid their bill, and they should be on the list that day, and then we'll skip that day and don't turn that water back on.
That's not true. That's not true.
I'm telling you about all the complaints I get.
You're acting like we're punishing people. The procedure is, and the policy has been in place well before I got in office, is that once you pay your bill, your service will be turned back on within 48 hours.
And
now,
that's too long.
Because there's a number of people either getting reconnected or getting disconnected on that list when they get the daily list. So now, you think that they came in at 10 o'clock, that she had the water back on at 10:30? That doesn't happen that way.
I did not say that. I just gave an example.
You said several hours, the water's off in several hours.
If you go and pay the bill by noon, it's back on by 3.
I can't, here's what happened. If they don't complete the list, it goes into the next day. And if the water gets turned off on Friday, and you want it turned back on, they only work till 3 o'clock. If you want to turn back on, that means you have to pay overtime for the public works people to come out and do it.
Mayor,
Now, is that what you want?
do we not have in place that they have to pay their bill by noon in order to get it turned back on by?
No, there's never been a policy like that.
Me and Matt sat down and we spoke about this.
You spoke about it, but it's never been a policy like
No,
that.
I got it from your department head, and he said by noon, and then by 3 p.m. the water is cut back on.
No, I told you, trustee, on the holiday weekends, when it was a 3-day weekends, because that's what you brought up, was the 3-day weekends with the shutoffs. I told you that we've worked out with Janice and the water department that if they paid by noon on Friday with a 3-day weekend, we would get them turned on by 3 o'clock that Friday. So they had to pay by noon to get it turned on by 3 o'clock Friday, only on the 3-day weekends where we had a holiday.
Well, Matt, I don't expect you to agree with me. I sent the email after we had our meeting, and I sent it to the entire board about our conversation. So you're saying the opposite now, and that's fine. But I'm advocating for Monday through Thursday,
Trustee.
Mayor, I'm advocating Monday through Thursday
Well,
that
don't
we
be finished.
turn off water, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we do not turn off people's water. That's what I'm advocating. That's what's on the floor.
Okay, let's take the vote.
Thank
However
you.
you want to vote.
On the motion to approve ordinance number 19-003, Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson.
Aye.
Trustee Henry.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now, what is actually we vote on?
19-00.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, I can read it.
We voted to not turn people's waters off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 6-0.
On a 3-day weekend?
Any weekend.
No, not just a 3-day weekend, period.
The change, as just approved, is to include the following language. Water shut-off shall be limited to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Absent an emergency, there shall be no shut-offs on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Okay, motion passed. Next thing on the agenda is status of business selling illegal cigarettes. Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, just to follow up from previous meetings, have you decided to appoint a hearing officer from the gas station that's selling illegal cigarettes that was found liable back in July of last year? What is the status of having that hearing for the Marathon gas station on Sibley?
Attorney Murphy, can you respond to that?
We sent out a notice of hearing last Friday, and the hearing, I think it's, we sent out a 28-day notice, so the hearing will take place in approximately 28 days.
Thank you. That satisfied my question.
Next thing on the agenda, status of Melanie Fitness Center repairs. Trustee Muhammad.
Yes, Mayor. As I noted at the last meeting, I would like to know what is the status of the repairs to get the Melanie Fitness Center up and ready for inspection to satisfy the current membership and potential membership of the Melanie Fitness Center.
Janice, can you respond to that?
We just received the,
Is your mic on? Okay.
we just received the promissory note with the corrected language. So it's however you guys want to move forward.
Okay. Next thing on the agenda is this.
I didn't hear that response. Mayor, could you just, her mic was low. I couldn't hear it.
Would you repeat that for him?
We received the corrected promissory note with the language that need to be corrected regarding the quote and taxes, and you guys can move forward as you see fit.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Johnson. So, Mayor, will you sign the agreement and will the work commence?
I haven't seen the agreement yet. I'm not going to sign it until I see it. And the work will commence. You sure you want me to do that after all the money you said Melanie Fitness lost?
That's your. I just want your answer for the record, Mayor. I don't want to argue with you. I just want to know what your answer is
I'm not
for
arguing
the
with you.
status of Melanie Fitness Center, when the repairs will be done, so that the members who are viewing this and potential members will know when the work will commence, so that that fitness center can be up to specification.
I'm not sure. Next thing on the agenda is new business. Yeah, I'm sorry, the stop sign. Status of stop sign at Greenwood in Woodlawn Avenue. Trustee Muhammad.
Yes, sir. A ordinance was passed unanimously to install a stop sign on Greenwood Road and Woodlawn. And I'd like to know the status of when that sign will go in with the accompanying signage to let persons know that a stop sign is approaching at that intersection.
I'm not was the ordinance passed?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
sir.
ordinance was
All right.
passed. We're waiting to hear back from IDOT due to the where it's at and how close it is to that intersection at 154th and Greenwood. I did try and call their traffic department again today and left a message for them to contact me, but that's where we're at right now.
Okay.
Because they did make us take down the sign on Woodlawn because
Right.
it was too close to the intersection, and also the Melanie Fitness Center signs that were at Sibley and Greenwood, we also had to take down because it was by their intersection and obstructed views and all that.
Right. Is that a county maintained road, Greenwood?
Greenwood for right. No, that's ours.
Okay. Chief, you want to give your opinion in regards to placing a stop sign there?
That particular location, it is difficult to maneuver out onto Greenwood. However, a placement of the stop sign in a northbound direction is 1 block from 154th Avenue. On heavy traffic days, we might have traffic that will go out into 154th. So we may have to come up with an alternative on what we're going to do with that intersection. We all agree that it is a difficult intersection to come out of to get onto Greenwood, but we'll have to come up with some other idea if we can't put a sign there.
Okay, in closing this, Mayor, again, the whole purpose for the stop sign, of course, is for public safety. It's a very dangerous area. Anybody that's traveled along Woodlawn or Greenwood know that coming out of Woodlawn, coming south, is very difficult to see on your left and your right. So I just want to go on record that this was approved by the board. The ordinance was put together by our village attorney, and if the status is, from what I understand from Mr. Stacy, you're saying you're hearing from IDOT, that's the answer for the record. You're waiting on IDOT, I guess. Thank you, Mayor.
Next thing is new business resolution number 19-R-006, authorizing the village of Dolton to participation in 2019 program for the Cook County Community Development Block Grant. And that's the one that you mentioned about Mr. Smith earlier. Can I get a motion to get this approved?
I make a motion to approve resolution 19R-006.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve the resolution 19-R-006, and that's the authorization for the Cook County Community Block Grant. Any discussion? No discussion. Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes. Next thing is item B on new business, hiring a patrol officer. Trustee Pearson.
Yes, this is replacing a patrol officer that is, the chief notified every trustee that he had someone retiring. This is not increasing the budget, so I'd like to make a motion to hire the one police officer that is retiring.
I second.
And it's promotion and seconded to hire a police officer. Any discussion?
Academy guy or a ladder?
Chief, do you plan on doing a ladder on this, or?
This would be for a lateral, but and just for the correction for the record, this is an officer that resigned and took a position with another agency.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a current active police list?
We have an active eligibility list. However, there are no certified individuals on that list. If we hired off of that list, we would have to send them to an academy for training.
Okay, we want to save money on that. So you
Yes.
plan on doing a lateral?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Votes? Roll call.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henry?
6 ayes, motion carries. Next thing on the agenda is a signage of a red light cameras. Trustee Pearson.
Mayor, I'm going to move this to the next agenda. However, I would like to let the residents know and the trustees know that this is a sign that's going to just mention at the three, we have the 3 red light cameras. A resident called me and expressed concern that other communities have a sign that say right turn permitted after stopping at the red, coming to a full stop at the white line. And so I actually want to get a photo of that sign that's up in South Holland and Lansing and give it to the board so that it can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I'd like to remove this and put it on the next agenda.
All right, it's removed. Next thing is the mayor's report. As you well know, we had an election, and the people spoke, and May 6th, the new trustee candidates will be sworn in, the members of this board, and the old candidates will be leaving. But we plan on, I supported the candidates that got elected for this election, and we plan on having an aggressive agenda and moving this village forward and operating like we should. I'd like for those candidates to stand up. We have Tammy Brown, Ed Steve. A lot of you know Ed Steve. And we got Andrew Holmes in the back there, Andrew Holmes. The residents made a decisive decision on who they want to represent this village. And I personally appreciate you coming out and supporting our candidates, and we're looking forward to making the village work. Thank you. Some of the things I'd like to bring back with the new administration is the 50-20 program, the hiring program for the summer youth, which was cut out by members of this board. The Sentinel newspaper, which was cut out by prior administration. We're going to generate revenue. We don't want to hurt the residents. There is going to be possibly some increases in maybe licensing fees and things like that in collections. Station 2 will be reopening soon with the repair by contractor. And lastly, some of those people that were so vital to some of the services here in the village, Dolton, will return. We're gonna amend the budget and make the budget work for this village. So I'm excited. There's only 3 more board meetings before the next new administration is sworn in, and we plan on working for the residents. And that's all. Next thing, the citizens' address. We're going to hold it to 3 minutes, and we're going to get out of here hopefully by 8 o'clock. Anybody want to approach the board? They can. Chief, can you watch the 3 minutes on this, Chief?
Yes, sir. Good evening, residents, mayor, clerk, and the board. 2 things. The first is each year the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus Foundation hosts an annual scholarship where they give approximately anywhere from 60 to 65 $1,000 scholarship opportunities to students who have been accepted or are currently in a institution of higher accreditation. So please, if you know any students looking for that money, it's ilbcf.org is the website. ilbcf.org is the website. And secondly, I know I'm asked this a couple months, Mayor, regarding comprehensive plan. I wasn't sure if you said there is or isn't one. So is there one?
There is a comprehensive plan that was done in...
It was done prior to 2013 when this administration came in, but it was approved by the board in 2013.
Is there some way we can get a copy of that? Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. Barbara Nelson, 140.
You can pull it down.
14116 Park Avenue. Mayor, you just said that you want to go forward and you want to help the residents.
Yes.
Can you explain to me why all of that trash is behind our homes? I've asked you about it a couple of times, and you said that it would be moved. There's people that's cutting down their trees. They're emptying lawn bags when they mow their lawns. If I decided I wanted to sell my house, I wouldn't even be able to, because the it's gone down. Property is gone down.
You asked me about the
garbage in the expo, used to be the expo parking lot behind our houses. It's senseless the way people come and dump everything, furniture and everything back there. These are our homes, you know.
The stuff that we've been dumping back there, which was the tree mulch, and we thought that the tree mulch would be advantageous to the residents if they wanted free mulch.
Go ahead.
And we both can't talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. And anything that anybody else is doing is illegal there. Now, I've talked to Matt about us removing some of that stuff. We just got to figure out where we're going to dump it. And if we dump it, there's really nowhere for us to dump it other than to take it to the dump and pay for it. So that's the cost to the village. So we have to figure out how much it's going to cost us to remove that stuff. But if anybody else is dumping anything about that, I don't know about that, and they should not be dumping.
Public Works is dumping. The
I just
village
said
of
that.
Dalton is dumping.
I just said that.
Okay.
What they're dumping back there is usually mulch and trees.
It's some of everything back there. And when I call the police, they want to give me the rundown. They want my name, my telephone number. I'm saying if you all here, I'm seeing somebody out here, you can catch these people. But they don't do that.
Man, illegal dumping is a problem for all towns. Don't think anybody's exempt. And we've caught some people that have illegally dumped. But we're going to have to put a plan in place to try to remove all that other stuff. We were putting it over at 142nd and College at the old vacant area there where the aluminum plant was. But did we get cited there, Mike, Matt, or warned? Did they actually cite us? Yeah. The EPA warned us if we continue to dump there, even though it's the village's property, we were going to get penalized for it financially. So eventually, we're going to have to move that stuff from back there, but it's going to cost the village of Dalton to move it.
You know, will you all charge us if our lawn is not cut, if the alleyway, the weeds, $750 if our lawn is not cut, or the weeds are not picked up in the alleyway?
Okay.
And we've reached our 3-minute mark.
Okay.
Okay.
If you know who pays for that, to move that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
The taxpayers. Now, we can say, yeah, fine, we'll go ahead and move it, but I'm going to tell you, that'll probably cost us $100,000. Not just to move it, but to pay, because they charge us by weight to take it over through the dump. So rather than try to put that increase of taxes on the people, we want to do it a way that it won't cost you any money. But and that was temporarily. We did that temporarily because we got warned of dumping on our own property at 142nd and Cottage. That's why we started doing it there. So we just got to figure out some. Ultimately, we're gonna have to pay to get it moved, to move it.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the mayor, board of trustees, the clerk, chief of police, and everyone that I forget to mention for this opportunity to speak. I'm here today to give an update about what's going on in my situation. I'm here because on April 23rd, 2018, I was just ending my shift heading home. And home is a sanctuary where you can put all your troubles and the troubles of your job and everything behind closed doors. I never made it past the closed door. This also means that this also means that when I'm going home that I survived another day protecting the citizens of Dolton. As I arrived in front of my home and reached the front porch, 2 male black subjects approached me at gunpoint. They said, "You know what it is. Get off the porch and give it up." I was startled. I could not believe this was real. I always try to be safe. The subjects repeated their command to come off the porch. I was thinking of the safety of myself, my home, my family. Also, there was no way I was going to give up my property, my badge around my neck, my gun on my hip, my police-issued radio and duty briefcase. I was not going to let them enter my home and hurt my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren inside. In fear of my life and my family to stop the armed robbery in progress, I took police action and announced my officers and attempted to shoot the offenders. I was shot 3 times before I could fire back. I was able to strike one of the subjects and the other one escaped. Due to my injuries, shot in the left wrist and forearm, left leg which required surgery, and stomach which nicked my pelvis, fractured my L5 spinal cord, and the bullet is still in my body 1 inch from my aorta and my L3 spinal. I am healing by God's grace and mercy. I am still having some difficulties, but God is good. Although this was a horrific ordeal for me and my family, several developments have happened over the last 11 months. I've had to deal with the injuries, my family's mental and safety, also almost losing my home, depression, anger, sympathy, and uncertainty about my future. But I'm here today to say that I'm better, stronger, and wiser. Although I will never be the same as I was before the incident, I will try to be better to myself, my family, my profession, the citizens of Dolton, and all the victims, as I know firsthand how devastating it could be. I have advocated for victims and won an award for such. This time I was a victim and did the best I could to stop the crime. Crime does not have race, income status, area, or age. We all can become victims, including police officers who are human beings who take an oath to serve and protect the law and the people, who put their lives on the line 24/7. The suspect, 17 years old, I shot, was apprehended and currently is being held without bail. I'm here to acknowledge the awesome prayers, well wishes, and support calls, rides to the doctors, monetary donations that I received. I hope, no pun intended, that's my last name, with God's power and your prayers to be back serving and protecting the citizens of Dolton soon. Thank you so much.
My name is Vanessa Richmond, and I live at 15222 Chicago Road. I was just coming to complain about the potholes behind the apartment building where I live at. They say they gonna come and put something in, and they never doing, and it's getting worse and worse back there. So I just wanted to come and talk about that.
Yeah, I discussed the potholes, not just on your block, but in the 15300 block also. So as soon as we can get some decent weather where the cold patch would hold, then we will start filling potholes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I understand that we're going to have a new people up in, what you said, another month and a half?
May 6th, sir.
It's okay. So is it, for the record, you saying since you got your people, that a lot of the problems that we said that we have now and the bickering is going to stop? I just want to know, for the record, are you saying that?
I'm saying that I've had a lengthy conversation with the candidates that won, and they have some of the same vision that I do, and they want to make sure that we're back on track. And things have not been passed, and ordinances have not been passed for political reasons, for personal gains, and to just be passed and directed towards me. You know, and it seems like some of the legislation and some of the votes that have been taken in these past boards has been directed towards me, but they hurting you. I'm good. I'm gonna be good. You know. So
what I'm saying, so in another year, I could come back here and I could actually say, "Well, Mayor, you kept your word." I could tell you that you didn't,
yes,
because you got the people you want.
Yes.
Okay.
First Chronicles 16:22 says, "Do not touch my anointed ones or do my prophets no harm." I want to address the issue of character or lack of. I've worked on many election campaigns for presidents, governors, senators, congressmen, women and men, mayoral campaigns in the city and suburbs, from knocking on doors to making phone calls and making robocalls or hosting events for the candidates. I've always volunteered in my community. I've never disrespected any person, including those that are sitting in those seats right now. I didn't come for you, but since you sent for me, let me say first, Mr. Riley, congratulations, and in a minute, I'll tell you why. My parents named me Deborah, which means in Hebrew, be unselfish, humble, untiring, complete devotion in her service to others. In the Old Testament book of Judges, Deborah is a hero and prophetess who led the Israelites when they were threatened by the Canaanites. She formed an army under the command of Barak, and together she destroyed the army of Canaanites. My name has never been a 5-letter word that you have so blatantly called me on numerous occasions to people that are in my family that you didn't know was related to me, and business people that I connect with on a regular basis. But I'll tell you what that 5-letter word means. I'm beautiful, I'm intelligent, I'm talented, I'm creative, and most of all, I'm an honest woman. You have been deceptive to people in reference to me, and you didn't know that they informed me of the things that you said in trying to slander my character and my name. You once told several business people that I am connected. You really do not have a clue of who I am, who I represent, and who is in my family. I have congressmen, assistant state's attorneys, criminal attorneys, and private investors, investigators, and a host of entrepreneurs in my family. On November 6th, you made a phone call in my presence and deceptively told someone something that was not true. So since you want to try to assassinate my character and my name, all I can tell you, 1, shame on you. 2, stay tuned. I've never spoken bad of you, and I've always respected you and tried to help you in any way I possibly can. I have the right to be friends with anyone I choose, and I am friends with many people that you know personally. But just because they were your enemies did not make them mine.
We've reached the 3-minute mark.
In my closing, again, congratulations to your continued deceit. I pray that the current administration does not fall victim. I pray that they bring this village to where it's supposed to be and not let us suffer anymore. Thank you.
All I'm going to say is bring those accusers in front of me. That's all I'm going to say. That's how I'm going to respond. Bring them in front of me. Lastly, I want to say is that our attorney, John Murphy, was cited in the Chicago Tribune in the Daily Southtown as doing some historical research to uncover some of the shocking cases of legalized racism in the south suburbs here. So he wrote an article. It's here. I'd like for some of you to read it if you had a chance. I think he printed out about 25 copies. But it's an excellent article. He has received some accolades from many of the mayors and some of the African American elected officials. So it's here if anyone wants to read it. Next thing, I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second to adjourn. Roll call.
Wait. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could remain seated for just 1 minute, thank you. Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee House.
Aye.
Trustee Denton.
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
Less than a minute. Thank you very much.